Back to UAE Achievers Talk Show Season 2. And today we have a very, very special guest among us. Her name is Joanna King. She's the founder of Strategy Kings Marketing. She's the marketing guru or marketing queen, as we say. Let's understand more from her. Hello, Joanna. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Anil. It's a pleasure to be here today.
I've heard a lot about you, and I know you are quite famous in Abu Dhabi. But I think let's start from, so how did UAE journey start with you?
So it happened 6 years ago. My husband mentioned that he'd been approached for a role in Dubai. And as it came closer, he said, actually, it's in Abu Dhabi. And I was like, how far away is that? Okay. And I'd never been to the UAE before, and just blindly, I agreed and said, let's go. And we moved as a family. My son was 5 at the time, and we've been in Abu Dhabi ever since. And so that was 6 years ago. We haven't looked back at all. And yeah, it was very interesting to come from Australia to here to the UAE, the heat, obviously. But it's been an amazing journey, and I haven't looked back.
Amazing. And before that, where were you?
So my background was in advertising, marketing, outdoor media. So I had over 23 years of experience in Australia, working for like the largest media companies, News Limited, ACP Magazines, APN Outdoor, so really big companies. And then when I came here to the UAE, I wanted to get into more of the digital marketing space. So that was an interesting journey, because at the time, emiratization was really strong. So I remember applying for 90 jobs.
Wow.
It took a year. And in the end, it was through relationships that someone connected me and I was able to get a job. So, the adjustment, the transition into the UAE was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, because I thought, okay, when I'm ready, I'll be able to find a job. And it wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So it is challenging coming from an expat where I had a big corporate job, and then all of a sudden I was a housewife, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like I was going mad, and I felt like I lost my identity. I was really struggling. And for me, I just had to keep mentally active. So eventually when I got the job, it was fantastic, and I haven't looked back.
Amazing. So before we get into your business journey, right, let's understand you more as a person.
Yeah.
So tell me, Joanna, I mean, when there were days where, you were at home and you were feeling a little frustrated that, I'm not the kind of housewife, or, what am I doing, or how should I start from here? What did you do to get that motivation, and how did you, bring yourself up and said, I want to do this?
So when I was ready to look for work, I started obviously applying, and you go through the usual channels, LinkedIn. But here in the UAE, everyone wants to come and work in the UAE. So you're one of 2,000, 4,000 CVs. So every day I was applying, and I remember my husband, it was my birthday, and my husband came into the kitchen and he said, "Happy birthday." And I just burst into tears. And he's like, "What's wrong?" And I said, I just feel like I haven't been able to find a job. And he's like, no, it's okay. We'll work at this. So then I literally treated it like a sales job. Instead of applying for 10 roles a week, I was applying for 40 roles a day. And then it just got, and I applied and I applied and I applied. And so eventually I did get a job. But what I found was I became a neurotic cleaner. So I became obsessed with cleaning, which isn't great, but anyway. And family has always been important. So my son was always number one. And then obviously for me, exercise. So I started getting into exercise to keep the mental health stable that way. So that helped. And then networking. So for me, getting out and about, was one way to meet people. I joined the Australian Business Group as a member back then, 5 years ago. And that was a way that it was an opportunity for me to meet other like-minded businesses and people that way. So that helped. And even going to networking events was a struggle, because I thought, well, I'm not working, so I feel like I'm not adding value. And then, you just have to keep going at it and pushing yourself too. And then eventually it flipped. And with that first job, I was working as a digital marketing consultant in the UAE. I was able to get local experience. I was learning a little Arabic. Don't test me on it now, but I was learning a little bit of Arabic. And I just found that as the months went on, I found my groove, and I was working with local clients, and that was fantastic. From then on, I went to work for another company where I was the media director, and that was, fantastic as a marketing director. And then what I realized was, obviously then COVID, this was off the back of COVID, was that I was tired of working with companies where I didn't feel valued, or I didn't feel like the company values and I were aligned. So I wanted to work on my terms. And especially during COVID, we're at the drop of the hat, especially in Abu Dhabi, you were homeschooling. I needed flexibility. So I found that working on my terms, whatever that meant, was how I then got inspired to start my own business. So I launched Strategy Kings in 2023, and that was the best decision I've ever made.
And now let's talk about Strategy Kings, right? So why did you start? How did you start? Take us through that journey.
So through my involvement with the Australian Business Group, I realised that there were a lot of international companies, a lot of Australian companies that want to come into the UAE. So my business has 3 verticals, and the first one is marketing. So the connection with the Australian companies coming into the UAE made me realise that there were companies that wanted to come here and they wanted to make sure that their marketing strategies were relevant to this market, that they resonated culturally, that there was, that their go-to-market strategies were relevant to this market. So that's how the strategy arm of the business came about. So we do everything from business planning, investor pitches, their go-to-market strategies. That was the strategy part of the business. And then what I realized also was that I needed something also for the local market, and that's where branding came in. And branding, this is where we do their full brand identity, from logos, company profiles. We ensure that all their different touch points have a consistent message. And so this is where we come in. And so that's where I've been working more with the local clients in that perspective. And then the third part of the business is in-house training. So we've been working with clients and we develop bespoke training programs. So we've been working with some of the Australian state representatives and developing in-house training programs for them for LinkedIn and personal branding. So that's how Strategy Kings came about. And I work very closely with the Australian Business Group in Abu Dhabi, and I'm now the chairperson with them. So with having those Australian connections, and then obviously with the UAE market, and then through BNI, it's made sure that, my business has been successful.
Amazing. And big congratulations for that, because, coming here, getting a good job, and then to be able to have your own business is a success story of its own. So amazing. But Joanna, tell me, at what stage you felt that Abu Dhabi, give me that comparison study between Abu Dhabi markets and Dubai markets.
So people always ask me, why did I launch my business in Dubai? And I find that Dubai and Abu Dhabi are very different markets. So I find that Abu Dhabi is very much a government market. Okay. It's a more established market. It's a market that's had a lot more established clients. So for example, if you're pitching for business, they're very much a case of show us your 10 years of history. It's much harder to crack as an entrepreneur. Whilst I find that in Dubai, everyone's an entrepreneur. People come off the plane and they're like, I've got a business license, I'm an influencer, and they've got, they're millionaires.
Yeah.
But what I found with Dubai is that it's very much an SME environment. It's the private sector. Everyone is a lot more collaborative. Everyone's more open to helping you. And so I found that for my business, in the first few years of the business, it was easier to start it in Dubai. And so for me, traveling an hour every couple of days to come to Dubai wasn't an issue.
Yeah, I see you traveling maybe thrice a week sometimes, and I'm like, wow, how she does that.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. And, so talk about some of your motivating or successful stories in a way that, today a woman, especially a woman who wants to, come out, we all say that it's a little bit more tougher for the women. And no matter what you say, you need to arrange your home back stuff with all, kids, maid and whatnot. How has been at your side personally? And then how would you like to motivate all the women entrepreneurs that are watching you today?
So for me, yes, as a female, it is tough. Like I know people talk about they want balance.
Yeah.
It doesn't really exist, not in my world anyway. So I find that, for me, family is number one and very important. And no matter what I do, it all revolves around my son and ensuring that I can always attend his sporting matches. So he plays rugby union.
Yeah.
So whatever I do, whether I'm working crazy hours or working weekends, I'll move things around to ensure that I can never miss a game. The only time I missed it was when I had surgery last year. So for females, I find it's a juggling act. I have a very supportive husband, so that helps. I have a cleaner for a few days a week. But I find that what has helped me is that I realized, especially last year after I had my ACL knee surgery, was that I had to put my health first. And that means that I get up at 4 a.m. every morning. I go to the gym by 4:30 a.m. and then the exercise is done. I have no excuses. And then I get the boys underway, they go to school, and then I'm ready to start work. So for me, that really helped. And I found that if I could develop the ideal body in terms of just being healthy, that I would develop a strong mind and that I would become disciplined. And I had surgery back in October, and then by January was when that kind of mind shift happened. And it's been an amazing journey for me, and it's definitely made me a lot more disciplined. So that has really helped. I think going back to your question, a lot of women don't value themselves, or they lose that identity here. And I find that you have to believe in yourself and be surrounded by people that are like-minded. That always helps. I have found that my journey through BNI has helped because you're surrounded by successful business people that want to help you, women that want to help you. And so that has been an inspirational part of the journey as well. Believing in yourself no matter what it is, whether it's you want to be a stay-at-home mum, but you just want to be able to, provide and be the best mum possible, amazing. Or whether you want to start your own business and back yourself and launch that, fantastic. So for me, the issue I had was that for years I didn't feel like I added value, or that I wasn't, that self-worth, that imposter syndrome that a lot of women suffer from. And so for me, I found that during COVID, I did a lot of self-development. I did Tony Robbins Mastery University, doing a lot of the seminars were on the reverse time zone. So I'd be starting at 6 a.m., going through till 9 a.m., going, be in a peak state, But I found that actually helped. And it was like chipping away at those layers that really helped to build my confidence, to back myself, to start my own business. And it's really helped. So
amazing. Yeah. Talking about BNI, right? Because that's a platform where we met.
Yes.
And we met all the other amazing business owners as well. So, John, I want to bring back the attention towards your company, which is Strategy Kings Marketing, right? Now, there's a lot of audience who still do not believe in any marketing, this thing. And then, marketing is a cluttered environment, cluttered space. People don't know. Everybody is like a marketing agency and all that, right? Any tips for business owners out there who are clueless on how do they start from marketing their company, or any tips that you like to throw?
So I like to compare it to coming from Australia. When I came here to the UAE, I noticed that the landscape was very different. So for example, in Australia, if you're looking as a business owner, if you're looking at promoting your business, you would advertise on television, you would advertise on outdoor billboards, in magazines, obviously that's declining, newspapers, all of that, really traditional media, and digital. Digital was big over there. They had big numbers. And then I remember coming here to the UAE, and it's such a fragmented landscape in terms of television. You don't really watch ads because everyone streams their television. So TV's out of the equation. Radio's big here, billboards are massive in Dubai, and then social media. So what it made me realize was that traditional media here in the UAE is, apart from billboards and radio, it's a very different landscape. Social media here is huge. And I would say to business owners starting out, start with social media, because this is the one way that you can attract your ideal customers. This is the one way that you can build brand loyalty from your customers. This is how potential customers can find you. This is also how your existing customers can really build that brand loyalty. So social media is a great platform. It's also understanding where your audience is. So for example, if you want to launch your Instagram and LinkedIn or Snapchat, but your audience is really on LinkedIn, don't waste time on Instagram. A lot of B2B businesses are doing, like, the fancy Instagram, but it's just concentrate on LinkedIn because that's where your audience is.
Yep.
So understanding where your key customers are will definitely help with your social media. Obviously then for like the bigger players who've got lots of advertising dollars, yeah, sure, do the billboards on Sheikh Zayed Road, which is super expensive, or radio segments, which is super expensive. However, I find that social media, if you're then doing paid marketing, so you can target your audience, and that's very effective. Google Ads, very effective as well. And that's one way you can build your audience in a quicker time frame and also get outreach and build your leads, your sales pipeline that way. So I think that social media here in the UAE plays a crucial role. Also, it's one area where you would see that it's the land of influencers. You come across your feed and everything's like, an influencer that's come off, the airport and they've got thousands of followers. So social media here is very big and it's very active. So it's definitely one way for small business owners that they can start with their marketing. I think, one of the things where it is a cluttered environment, the marketing space, but I think one of the things that I've noticed in the last 12 to 18 months is the use of AI. So as a business owner, if you can incorporate AI to help you streamline your content, if you can use platforms like Semeli where you can, have all your social media created for you, in all one platform and post it, that can be another area. Using the right tools for small business owners, that's definitely one area that it can help. And using marketing companies like myself, for us, it's more about building long-term partnerships with clients. We're not interested in, just doing a one-off project necessarily. For us, it's more about being that long-term partner where we can both grow together. And I find that it's those partnerships, those collaborative approach is where we get the best out of both parties. We can, their goals become our goals and, their success becomes our success. So for us, it's more about building those long-term partnerships. So that's why I would say it is of benefit to align yourself with a marketing agency. Obviously budgets allow and you can get really bigger agencies or smaller agencies. But I think that's definitely one way where, a marketing agency can help SMEs.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I think it was very insightful. While we met on a platform called BNI, I just wanted to, bring a little bit focus. There's a lot of, news out there or information out there about people going to XYZ events and then networking and all that, right? Now, both you and me have been part of BNI. That's where I met you. I probably wouldn't have met you otherwise, especially you being in Abu Dhabi. But what has been your BNI journey so far and why you think BNI, what sort of value it added for you?
So I remember we had some friends over for dinner, and this is when I was in the role where I was a marketing director and more of a BD role. And my friend's husband said to me, have you heard of BNI? You should probably go and check it out. I was like, yeah, I will. He said, you should go and see if there's any chapters in Abu Dhabi. At the time, they had closed. So then when I eventually did come to a meeting in Dubai, I remember I had registered myself and everyone was like, you're coming from Abu Dhabi, you're mad, you're crazy, like every week as if, so they thought I wasn't going to be a quality member. So I joined in April and by October, I was vice president.
Wow.
So my journey was with BNI, definitely, that I just went all in. And for me, at the time, I was an employee. But what I found was that, especially then when I did launch my own business, all of a sudden I had a group of business people that I trusted that were my trusted suppliers. So I had one person who set up my company, one person that did the legal work, another person that did all my printing, another person that did all my merchandising. I would never have met these people otherwise. And these were all people that I trusted. So in that sense, it has helped immensely as a business owner, especially coming from a different market. All of a sudden, I had a lot of trusted suppliers that I could work with. I've been able to develop some amazing friendships, like with yourself and some of my fellow members, and it's been amazing. And I think when you start your own business, that whole entrepreneurial journey can be quite lonely.
Yeah.
And I think that being in an environment which is very supportive and building relationships, and especially here in Dubai where it is very relationship based, I mean, it makes sense for me to be part of it. And so for me, my journey with BNI has been quite exponential. You know, I started off as vice president, then I became ambassador with Glory.
Yes.
Now director consultant. Now I'm president as well, BNI Jams. So I just feel like every term it's increasing. And for me, you know, like when you are starting out your business, it's all about building visibility. And this has been definitely one platform where everyone now knows me as the Australian from Abu Dhabi. So, you know, I've got that name now. You're the Abu Dhabi person. And so for me, it's been a fantastic platform. I've built amazing connections, a lot of amazing relationships, and all of that will eventually transcend into obviously more business and things like that. So for me, it's been a no-brainer to be with a network like this. And I think also, you know, networking is big here in the UAE, but when you go to a lot of networking events, everyone just exchange cards and that's it. And then you come home and then you've got a pile of business cards and then you don't hear from them or you don't really connect with them. But I think what I have found as the major difference is that because it is structured and everyone's aligned with the same values, that it's a much easier platform to operate in, and you know, and globally, because I've even been to Australia and they have chapters in Australia, and it's the same values everywhere around the world, and with over, I think, 327,000 members now, you know, you can go anywhere in the world and connect, and everyone has the same values, so you're all on like the same page. So as business owners, I have found that invaluable.
Well, yeah, I think that's why, BNI is super special for me also, because I've just been here for a year, as you know, but I'm already enjoying the connections and, you know, the ability to meet these business owners and learn so much from each other. Well, Joanna, before you go, I just want to ask you this question, and this is coming from a personal space because I've been observant of you, you know, from distant. And I don't know if I've said that to you, but I'm saying that on camera now, that you are very, very motivating and very inspiring for me. I don't know where you get that from. And I think you are a perfect example of a women entrepreneur who is like, yes, I want to do it and I want to do it this way. And where do you get all this from? I mean, how are you able to do this?
I mean, I think for me, I would say I'm very resilient. And so I used to do a lot of marathons and triathlons and things like that. And I remember going to watch an Ironman distance, where it's something like 3.8 kilometers swim, 180 kilometers cycle, and a 42K marathon, all one after the other.
Wow.
And I remember going to watch this race and watching people finish after close to 17 hours. And I thought, if they can do it, I can do it. And even finishing my first marathon, I was like, I never thought I could do that. And that just ignited something special in me. So for me, I would say I'm stubborn. So I just keep going. I'm quite relentless. And for me, as I said to you earlier on, that developing that self-discipline to just get up early and focus on my health, and that has really helped. I quite like now that I find that I am inspiring other people on their fitness journey with their work. But for me, you know, I want to make it here in Dubai, and, you know, I'm writing a book this year. So that's something that I've been working on. So I'm interviewing a lot of entrepreneurs as well. And so for that, you know, that's quite exciting for me. I'm looking at doing more keynote speaking. So that's another area where I want to sort of go into. So for me, it's been being consistent. So, you know, getting up every day and it's not fun. I don't want to get up at 4 a.m. But what I have found is, you know, on the way to the gym where it's pitch dark, I listen to daily motivations and, you know, it's someone barking and inspiring things for you. But I just find that gets me in the right headspace. So I'm in the right mindset in the morning. And it's, you know, it takes a while and you have to be consistent. So I feel like if I just get up and do it one step at a time, that has helped. And that, going back to the races, like sometimes you think a marathon, oh wow, that's 42 kilometers, that's a long time, you know, or what's that saying, you know, you eat an elephant one bite at a time, something like that, right? So for me, it was a case of you break down that race one step at a time. And for me, that's how I've been breaking down my life in terms of, okay, get the health in order, get my business in order, get the relationships and friendships that way. And that's what's helped. So for me, I don't really think about it. I just do it now. So before I used to be like, I'd always put the exercise at the end, and my husband would be like, you've got this membership, you're not using it. And now I'm inspiring him. So he now comes at 4 a.m. So I think that, sometimes you just have to do the things that you have to do, and then it eventually will come together and pay off.
How amazing is that, right? Now, Expats Hub has over 275,000, expats living in Dubai, and, a little bit now we're expanding towards Sharjah, Abu Dhabi. There are a lot of listeners out there, I'm sure, who are watching your podcast right now. Any special message you want to give out to them, from your side?
You need to believe in yourself.
Sure.
And if you don't believe in yourself, then who else is? So I think it all starts with you first. And honestly, sometimes when times are tough, because entrepreneurship is difficult, it's like a roller coaster, ebbs and flows of motivation and winning business, losing business and things like that. There's going to be hard times and good times. And I think if you surround yourself with good people, I find that I'm always giving, like I'm always very generous with my time, because I feel like it's going to come around. And so I think that, it starts with you. Surround yourself with good people, with inspiring people. And I think that BNI is definitely an area where you do find yourself that you're surrounded with very inspirational business owners, and learn from them, have mentors. And for me, one of the things that I have found is always keep learning. So, the degree that I did back in long time ago, showing my age, it doesn't exist like, what I learned back then. So it's like you need to keep learning, and technology is changing very quickly. So you need to stay abreast of those changes, especially in social media and marketing. So always keep learning, studying, reading. I read a lot of self-help books, and then attend any workshops, webinars and things like that, so that you always stay current with what the market trends are. And I think that's going to help.
So, well, unfortunately, we are coming to the end of the episode, and I have enjoyed my time thoroughly with you. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to host you at UAE Achievers Talk Show Season 2. It was a pleasure to have this wonderful conversation with you.
Thank you, Anil. It's been a great pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So guys, that was Joanna King. She's the founder of Strategy Kings Marketing. And if you are looking for any of the marketing, branding or training services, she's your go-to person. Well, stay tuned for more such amazing achievers coming your way.